everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristi Martin, and this year I'm doing my student teaching in West Palm Beach, Florida. And today I am here to answer a few questions that you guys had over on my Instagram. So if you're not following my Instagram, go follow it. It's at sunshine.teaching. I'd love to have you over there, and then you can ask your questions the next time I do a Q&A. But anyway, so I have a few questions and let's get into it. What is your favorite subject to teach? So last semester, my favorite subject to teach was probably science, because I just felt like it was so hands-on and it was so easy to get the kids engaged. Like when I did the apple volcanoes, dissecting flowers, looking at the inside of a pumpkin, like all of it was hands-on and exciting, and I just felt like it was easier to find those kind of activities for science, to be honest, that were exciting, than other subjects that I taught. So I really did enjoy teaching science. What is your favorite place to buy clothes? I like to get clothes from Anthropologie and Madewell. However, those are a little pricey, so it's very limited the clothes that I actually get from there. I do like to shop at Lulu's online. They usually have some cute clothes, more just like for everyday kind of clothes. If I'm thinking about teaching, I usually go to Old Navy or I go to Ann Taylor Loft because they're more reasonably priced and they have a lot of professional kind of clothing for teaching, so I'll usually go there. What is your advice to people who are hesitant to become teachers? And she kind of says because of the negative connotation that it has on like college campuses, which it does, it really does. And this is kind of a tricky one for me because I kind of fell into that trap. When I was leaving high school, I got some bad advice, like I've said in a previous video, so it was more like you're too smart to be a teacher, therefore I went in as pre-med nutrition and kind of went with that because of the connotation that education does have. So if you don't know, education is kind of like looked down upon because it's easy. Yes, the content is easier because we're teaching kids. So like our math is not going to be as hard as people who are in biochemistry or engineering, things like that. Yes, totally understand that. However, our major is very, very time consuming. The amount of time we spend on projects and planning lessons and the amount of money we spend on getting supplies for those lessons and things like that, we work long hours, which is great because teachers do work long hours. Like in the profession, it's preparing us super well for that. It is also the fallback major. So if you can't do nursing, if you can't do biochemistry, if you don't like business, well, I can be a teacher. Anyone can be a teacher. Yes, that is true. Anyone can be a teacher, but not everyone can be a good teacher. So remember that. If you are thinking about education and you feel like you have a calling to do this, don't care what other people think and just do it. Yes, I'm also speaking to myself. I'm also reminding myself not to care what other people think about it, because if that's where God has called you, then you should do that. I'm thankful that now He's provided me with the opportunity to be here and do it, even after a little bit of a journey. But I would recommend just go straight and do it and don't care what other people think, because guess what? Education's not important to them now, but you are raising up the next generation to be functioning members of society, and guess what? When they have kids, they're going to realize how important education actually is. So that's all the things that I tell myself. What has been your biggest challenge during student teaching? My biggest challenge was probably the fact that I kind of just wanted my own classroom. I just wanted to do things my own way. And yes, that is great because that means there's some confidence surrounding what I'm doing. I feel like good about it. However, I had to take a step back and remind myself that I'm still learning. So when things went wrong or it didn't work out how I thought, I had to be like, okay, well, I'm still learning. It's okay. I'm not going to be the worst teacher in the world. And just like go from it. So I think it was more just like good to remind myself that I was learning throughout it, because it was challenging when things wouldn't work out that I expected would be like a hit. What is the best thing about living in Florida? The best thing about living in Florida is probably the weather. It's like sunny quite a bit of time. We don't have winter, and yeah. I do miss fall because I really liked fall when the leaves change. The leaves don't change here in South Florida, but it's nice that we don't have like a harsh winter. Also, I remember it getting really cloudy and it's kind of depressing when the sun doesn't come out. So I like that the sun is out most of the time here. What is the worst thing about living in Florida? So probably people here aren't so nice. Like they're not really neighborly or friendly. They're more just like, not mean, but like just like into themselves doing their own thing, kind of like New York mentality. However, when I visited other states, there's like super nice people who just like say hi to random people on the street, and it's like, what? I specifically remember when we were in Minnesota. Minnesota had really nice people. But anyway, I would like to like live somewhere like that and learn from them, because like honestly I am kind of set in my Florida ways because I grew up here. But it would be really interesting to live in there. Even when I was in Alabama, people are way nicer. Would you ever consider teaching in a different country? Yes. Actually, in high school, I thought about this a few times, like teaching English in another country, just like have that different experience of different cultures and learn from other people. But I don't know if the opportunity will present itself anytime soon. But in my senior year of high school, I got to go on a missions trip to Nicaragua with Hope Project. And Hope Project is really awesome. They build houses for other people, and we also got to provide students with school supplies so that they could go to their school. So we got to walk them over to their school and see how it looked. It was way different, obviously. We were also in a poor community, but I would love to experience what schools are like in another country, just because they have different ways of doing things, and to learn that different perspective would be awesome. I also felt like I was definitely more grateful for what we had here after being over there and meeting the people and seeing how joyful they were, even in a tough situation that they lived in. Like I said, go check out Hope Project. I'll put their link in the description below, because they are doing awesome work. They provide so many students with the opportunity to get an education, and they also provide materials and things that families need to survive, and then they also share the gospel. It's pretty awesome, and I loved being able to travel with them. And so yeah, definitely go check them out. What is your favorite kind of music? So I like country music. I only started liking that when I went to Alabama because my friends introduced me to it, but I also like pop music, but it's sometimes trash. And then this is where people don't really agree with me, but I do like musical theater music. I think it stems from the fact that I did musical theater in high school, which kind of brings us to our next question, which was, what is your favorite show you did while you were at King's? I did go to the King's Academy, which is the school that I was just finished my student teaching at, and when I was there in high school, I did the shows. I think my favorite was probably Breakfast at Tiffany's. We just did like the movie, you know, like what the movie is. So it was that just in a show form, and it was just acting. Usually I danced in the musicals, but that was kind of my favorite show. If you have any desire to see any of the shows me or my brother were in, they are all over YouTube, because the King's Academy does have a channel. They're very embarrassing, and I don't usually watch them back. Have you ever wanted another younger sibling? So I do have a younger sibling. He's 2 years older than me. His name is Kyle. He's the one who did the valedictorian speech. He is so cool, so awesome. And I never really thought about having another younger sibling, just because I feel like he filled that role really good. What is your favorite thing to do with your family? When I was younger, my mom made it a super big priority for us to like sit down at the dinner table and eat together. So like honestly, I just love doing that. When we go out to eat or we eat a family dinner at home, I really like that time, because I feel like it's huge on building our relationships and also great conversation. Yeah, there's some things that go a little wacky sometimes, but it's really fun. I also like to travel with my family. I'll have to make a separate video on this, but we did go to all 50 states in 13 months. We sold everything we owned, we got an RV, and we just traveled to all 50 states. It was a huge trip, and now that I look back on it, there were so many cool experiences. But it was definitely tough to travel all 4 of us together for that long of a period of time. So we haven't traveled that much since. We've done a few things, well, especially during COVID, we haven't done anything, but I do like to travel with my family. It's very entertaining, and a lot of fun stuff happens. So I'll have to make a whole video on that, because we have a lot of fun video clips and things from our trip. What is your favorite Bible verse? My favorite Bible verse is Romans 12:12. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. And this kind of was my favorite verse. It started out when I tore my ACL in high school. That was like a huge deal to me, because I was a dancer, and it was like the hardest thing I'd ever gone through, with like physical therapy and all that. Looking back on it, it's not that hard, but at the time it felt like huge. So this verse was a good reminder to find joy and hope in the Lord. Did I do that great at the time? Probably not. And am I still learning? Yes. But I tend to come at things with more of a negative critical perspective rather than a more positive one. So this verse is a huge reminder for me that even in any situation, we can find hope and joy in the Lord and be faithful to Him. So it's something that I'm still working on. I'm nowhere near perfect at it, but it is a great reminder, and that is why it is my favorite verse. So those are just some of the questions that people had over on my Instagram, and I'm so happy that I got to answer them. I hope this helped you get to know me a little bit better, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can see all my new videos. I really hope this brightened your day.